Hello, hello friends. Today I'm giving you my online class on ecology. This class is specially designed for my IO Biocast students. As today I'm not in the class, so I'm giving the class through online. Hope all of my students will enjoy. So last class we have discussed about the abiotic factors that do controls the biotic factor of a biosphere under the chapter that is called as organism and population. So today friends we are now going to learn about what are the abiotic factors that controls the biotic factors, or in other words we can say that the response to the biotic factors, that is what response you have to this biotic factor. So what response you have, this is called as the response to biotic factor. As you all know that there are many responses, but we should know what are the basic response. The first response is adaptation. What does adaptation means? It means that suppose this is the environment present, suppose this is the environment present, and suppose here is also another environment present. So the inner one is, as we know, call them as what? That is, the inner one is, as we call them as what? Habitat. So this is the habitat condition. So here what happens normally, the biotic organism survive. So now what happens? These environmental will cause certain control over these biotic factors. So as a result, what happens? These biotic factor will cope with the environment and adapt themselves. And they adapt themselves so that to cope with the surroundings. So what are the basic adapters? So what do you mean by adaptation? Means in a habitat, the environment is not always constant, but it goes on changing from time to time. So the organism shows various adaptation, means they change according to the environment so that they can survive under abiotic under changed condition. So gradually the physiological adjustment as well as the biochemical adjustment are the major form of adjustment it has been found in this particular topic, that is response. So first we should not forget about Selford law of tolerance is a very important part. So what does this means? What do you mean by Selford law of tolerance? Let's see. The Selford law of tolerance is the basic mode of adaptation tolerance. So explaining you according to the graph. Please note down. So normally this is suppose this is the population limit that is high, and this is the population limit that is low. So this is the low population. Suppose here the population is low, this case, and the population can increase maximum up to this condition. Got it? So this is the vertical graph. And when we move on to this horizontal graph, this part of the graph, it has been found that this particular zone is the zone of intolerance, so that there is no organism present in this particular zones on both sides. If it is present, and it has been found that this zone is so intolerance, that the environment condition is so intolerance that the organism is unable to cope. So but when we move on to this particular zone, that is called as the stress zone. The stress zone means some organism can survive within the stressful conditions. But beyond the stressful condition on both the sides, the organism is unable. That is zone of intolerance. So there are three zones present. Zone 1 where you can have tolerance zones. Zone 2 where you have can some tolerance, and zone 3 where no tolerance is accepted. Got it? So in zone 1, this is the zone 1. This area is the zone 1. Within this zone area, a graph has been plotted. Means normally the population in this particular part, or the adaptation in this particular part is very fitness, and the growth is maximum because here the population is low, but the environmental conditions are max. Got it? Means the environmental conditions are what? Max. Food is max, your shelter is max, water is max, all are maximum. But the number of population, but the individual species are what? They are what? They are very what? Small. So what happened? The fitness and growth is max. So as we go up and up, as we go up and up, what happens? Now, normally what happens? Now the population increases. As you see the graph, the population goes on increasing, increasing. But what happened? The environment having the source decreases. So what happens? The environment source, what happens? They goes on decreasing, decreasing. So as they decrease, what happens? The organism abundant will go on decreasing, decreasing, decreasing. And beyond this line, what happens? Now, normally what happens beyond this tolerance lines, the population explodes, called as population explosion. So according to this law, it has been given that a minimum and maximum limit of tolerance is present, that is called as ecological amplitude. And this ecological amplitude is guarded on the basis of factors like temperature, sunlight, or nutrients. And in this tolerance region, we find that the optimum zone of tolerance is also found to be present, which we survive, where the organism adapt and cope with the surviving surroundings. Next, when we move on to the second point, the organism have the ability to maintain the internal body suitable for all biochemical reaction and physiological function that helps the organism to survive within this environment. But friends, as we know that on this particular basis, the organism has been differentiated into basic four groups. The first group is called as regulator, the second group is called as conformer, the third group is called as migrator, and the fourth group is called as suspender. Got it? So regulator, we human beings normally a regulator means our body is in the state of homeostasis. What do you mean by homeostasis? Means the body is always constant, no doubt, whatever changes takes place in the surrounding conditions. So we all human beings, all mammals, all birds are in the state of that is called as regulator. So we maintain a constant body temperature that is 37 degree centigrade. Whatever may be the temperature in the outside surrounding, but our body will always maintain a constant temperature that is 37 degrees centigrade. For this we call them as what? The regulator. For example, suppose in the outside in the summer heat there is a summer heat present. So what happens? Our body sweats a lot. So in the summer heat, what happens? The body sweats a lot, and this sweating causes water droplets on the surface of the skin. Got it? They causes what? Water droplets on the surface of the skin. So these water droplets, what happen? It starts evaporating. So when they starts evaporating, they absorb what? Heat from our skin. So they absorb heat from our skin. So when they absorb heat, they release the extra heat from our skin. So as they release the extra heat, our body again becomes cool and we maintain the surrounding adaptation. But suppose there is cooling effect. Outside temperature is very low. When the outside winter season, what happen? When winter season, what happen? The outside temperature is very low. When the temperature is very low, our body starts shriveling. Our body starts shriveling a lot, a lot, and lot. And as shriveling, it generates heat. It generates what? Heat in the body. Means what happen? So when winter comes, our body shivers, and the muscles having the proteins, that is what? Actin, and what? That is myosin. There starts contraction and relaxation, and they release maximum amount of they creates maximum amount of heat in the body, and so that our body survives in this winter season. Got it? So this particular behavior is called as homeostasis, and this type of behavior where the body temperature remains constant, whatever may be the change in the environment temperature, is called as regulators. Okay, my friends. Okay. Next, it has been found what are conformers. Conform means the organism always, suppose this is the biotic habitat and this is the environment. The organism first confirms what is the environment condition, then it changes its body. Got it? So this is called as what? The conformer. So organisms which are able to maintain their internal environment, whatever temperature, osmotic concentration, means body, the change according to the change the body temperature or regulation according to the change in the surrounding. So they are normally regarded as what? The conformers. Got it? It has been found about 19% of animals and plants are conformer. Please note down, this particular question comes in your net. Got it? So 99% of animals except mammals and plants what are conformer. Means in small animals what happen? Whatever may be the birds, the heat loss or heat gain is function of the body surface area. So they have to expand much energy to generate body heat through metabolism. That is, small animals are rarely found in polar regions, or animals are large in size in polar region, because the surface area behaves and helps the organism to cope with the surrounding, thereby releasing the heat or gaining the heat according to the change in the temperature. So it has been found that some species of these polar regions or in other tropical and temperate region has evolved to ability to regulate. Means they are partially regulator. Means 100% they are unable to maintain the body temperature. They partially maintains the body temperature for some times, beyond which they conform, and these are called as what? The partial regulator. Friends, suppose we plot a graph having x-axis and y-axis with external label and internal label. It has been found what happens, whatever the environmental factor changes, suddenly the internal label also changes. Means the body never always changes with the surrounding. So we do call them as conformer, and the graph is always uniform. But in regulator, what happens? The graph is always constant. Means within this area, within this part, within this particular area, the organism is fixed, having a fixed body temperature, is always having a fixed body temperature. As the result, whatever may be the environmental is going on changing, going on changing, but the body is always constant. It having a constant, they call as regulator. And beyond regulator, below regulator, there are certain passive regulator which are evolved part of regulator. Some organism, but not all. Got it? Now, friends, we have discussed about conformer and we have discussed about regulator. Now, friends, let's move the third part, that is called as what? The migration. Some organisms, those are unable to do regulator and conformer, they go for migration. Means if a stressful condition is present in that particular habitat, then for a short duration, the organism move away temporarily. They temporarily move away from the stressful habitat to a more suitable habitat and return back when the stressful period is over. And this particular process is called as migration. As you have all noted, the Siberian species, they come to this Cleolad National Park of Bharatpur, Rajasthan, and for some times when the condition becomes friendly in that particular area, they return back to the regions. So these northern regions, cold regions, these are cold birds, they come and they migrate according to the system. So it has been found either the long distance